For more content like this, log on to GibboPresents.com.
It's Gibbo, and right now I'm joined by an artist who was born in Jamaica, then migrated to New York in the 80s, and has been making music ever since. It is Red Fox. How are you?
Bless up, give up. Saying, all is well, man. Give thanks.
Skylarking, your single with Screechy Dan, has been getting a lot of radio plays and has been up on SoundCloud for a few months, but it's just recently been released on iTunes. Of course, it's a take on the Horace Andy classic. So let me start by asking, why did you guys choose to do a new version of this song at this time?
Well, first, Sting International, as everyone know, well, not everyone, but, Sting International is very instrumental in the development of, what we call a rough entry artist career. Shaggy, Screechy Dan, Raven, and you have some guys that we can't forget like Baja Jed, Nike Fungus, Mr. Easy, and all these different artists, So Sting is who came to me with the idea to do a remake of Horace Andy, because he already knows Screechy can sing like Horace Andy when he feels like it, because Screechy could change up his voice a lot. So he figured it would be a good idea, and then with me dropping some DJ verses, that will make the difference to the original classic.
And do you think the message behind this song is just as or even more relevant today than it was when the original was released back in the 70s?
Well, it's super relevant for a number of different reasons. Like, for instance, in the original that Horace Andy did, he said, give me a 10 cent, give me a 5 cent, right? And in today, because the Jamaican dollar is so low, we call 100 Jamaican dollars 10 cent, and we call like $50 in Jamaica 5 cent. So when we're saying give me a 10 cent, give me a 5 cent, it's still relevant to the youths today. And otherwise from that, there's still a lot of youths still skylarking in 2016 in a different way. Back then we didn't have social media. We just had regular day-to-day living, but you had people on the street not trying to go get a job. And today we find that a lot of kids are on social media, Facebooking, Instagramming, Twitter, the whole nine. Nothing is wrong with it, but they're not really getting in anything productive, but just trying to take a picture of themselves and just skylarking in a different way. So we kind of try to bring back skylarking. That's why in the verse, one of the verse in the song, I kind of talk about, social media, Instagram, people taking a picture of their shoes, people, doing all these things. And at the end of the night, they're asking you to buy a drink. So it doesn't make any sense, you know what I mean?
You and Screechy Dan go a long way back. How did you first meet?
When I came to Brooklyn, in the late 80s, Screechy Dan was like the top DJ in Brooklyn alongside another guy called James Bond. And they were like the hottest thing in Brooklyn. And when I came here trying to pursue my, musical journey, he was the man to, listen to. So I met him at this club one night. And, we introduced ourselves, and he was telling me about a record that I had called Come Boogie Down at the time. That was my first release, and he was telling me how much he loves the song. And we just kind of connected then, and we became very, 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 very good friends. Because I have to give him a lot of credit because, during writing most of our songs, Screechy always have a word here and there that, he helps us to put in the song, because he's like a genius when it comes to writing.
You mentioned earlier on, Skylarking was of course produced by Sting International, another man who you've known for a very long time. Can you explain to me the role he's played in your success, particularly in the early days, voicing you on dubplate and playing your music in dances and on Kiss FM?
Well, in a major way, because you see, Sting is an American. A lot of people don't know, right? And the fact that he's an American, it makes it a blessing to us, because what happened is, when we started here making records, the Jamaicans thought that we can't be authentic enough because we're living in New York. So they have a psychological issue going on. So when they're listening to your record, even though you're doing just as well as the other artists coming from Jamaica, they still can't hear it because in their mind, you live around the block. Now Sting is an American who do not care about, you know, if you're living in Jamaica or if you're living in America. He's just want to hear a good record. So it's like a level ball field when it comes to his, you know, his listening ability. So he picked up our records and started pushing it, started playing it on, you know, Kiss FM, etc., etc. And I did a lot of dub plates for his sound system, which is Sting International. And he was playing in the biggest club in Manhattan called the Underground Nightclub. And that club had like about 4,000 people every Friday night, alongside David Levy. And I did like about 10 shows there. And what happened is I crossed over in the Black American market, in the Latino market. So my career kind of went around the hardcore Jamaican scene and open up doors for like the Black Americans and the Latino. And that's how a record like Pose Off in your Pum Pum Shots got so big, because the Latina gravitated to it so big. You know what I mean? So Sting have a lot to do with breaking us, because if it wasn't for people like him, we would have had a really, really tough time.
Was it you who introduced Shaggy to Sting?
Yes. He, during those days, I had like about, you know, 2 records that's very popular in the streets in Brooklyn, like Jamaica Nice, you know, which is labeled down in Jamaica, and Come Boogie Down. So, you know, Shaggy kind of tend to lean towards, you know, me during that time, because he was in the army, not the army, the Marines. So he used to come all the way from the Marines to come and visit me. Like, he'd drive 9 hours just to come and sing at a party with me, and then go back 9 hours the next day to his army base or to the Marines. And I introduced him to Sting and say, you know, you need to check him out. And that's how it started.
That's a remarkable story. I think it was North Carolina, was it, where he was stationed?
Yes.
Driving all the way up to Brooklyn to perform a show, then drive back again.
Yeah, he had a serious passion, you know, for dancehall music, and, you know, he does well today because of that passion.
So when you saw that passion and that determination so early on, did you think he was destined for greatness at that point?
For sure. I saw that he was very talented. A lot of people thought we were brothers. They used to ask me if that's my brother, and I used to say yes. And we used to kind of go around like brothers, and, you know, like a family thing, because Shaggy's really just his mother's one child. So he kind of took onto me like a smaller brother. He's older than I am, but sometimes people might think that I am because I came up first. But, you know, we kind of took to each other like brothers, and we started to just, you know, sing together wherever we go, and, you know, party together and just have fun together. And, you know, none of us knew it was going to become anything like what it is today.
When you first moved from New York to Jamaica, I believe one of the first people you linked up with was Puma from LP International.
Yeah.
I need you to take me back to the dances and parties you two used to go to. Paint me a picture of 1980s Brooklyn.
Oh, man. Listen, those were like the Western cowboy days, you know what I mean? Because I came to New York City during the time when crack was really like on its peak. Crack was like selling, and because of that, there was a lot of gangs. So all those parties that LP before. Okay, so I attended this high school called New Utrecht High School when I just came to New York City and in Brooklyn, and all the LP guys were attending this school, except Puma. He already graduated, and I kind of I never knew anyone. I just came to Brooklyn, so I was kind of like really, really getting to a lonely stage because I'm going to school like every day and I don't know anyone. So I introduced myself to this guy, and he was a part of the LP International crew. So I was recruited by this sound system that was going to clash against them, ironically. And I went to the dance and I took the mic and I started to rip the place. And then I guess the rest of the DJs on that sound didn't really like the fact that I was getting all so much attention. So they didn't give me back the mic for the rest of the night. So LP recorded me the same moment they saw what was going on. So I went to LP sound and started clashing against the sound that I went to defend. So it was kind of wild. I don't know if I kind of betrayed them, but I went to the other side and started to, kill them because I felt like, they weren't giving me an opportunity. So, it wasn't a good thing, but it happened that way. And then I started to DJ for LP from that day on. But man, it was tough because all those parties got shot up every night. We knew some part of the night that gunshots were going to be fired. Every single time you did a dance, we knew somewhere somebody's going to start something and we're going to look for the exit, figure out where we're going to hide, figure out where we're going to jump, figure out where we're going to duck. You know what I mean? So it was crazy. It was tough. But you had to do it if you wanted to make it.
How has being based in New York, not Jamaica, affected you from a career standpoint, both positively and negatively?
Well, I know if I didn't leave Jamaica, I knew I would have been like I don't want to sound like I'm too overconfident, but I know I would have somewhat did very well globally a long time ago because Jamaica is like the base where everyone looks to get reggae and dancehall music. So when I'm living in New York, I have to work 10 times harder or even 20 times harder to get my product out there because most people are looking in Jamaica. You got to figure out how to get them to look to New York. So what we created in New York was like, that crew, rough entry crew. And when we created that crew, we were forced to be reckoned with because a lot of the American promoters didn't find the need to book Jamaican act because we were already here. They didn't have to fly us anywhere. We didn't need a visa. We didn't need a hotel room. All we need was just our money for the show. So, there was a point in New York where we totally took over the whole entire dancehall market to the point where, I don't want to call it in names, but artists that was like on top of the game in Jamaica came to New York and, got pretty much surprised, when we left the stage, like they had to work like crazy to even get a response. So in somewhat, New York is positive because we had access to people that artists in Jamaica wouldn't have access to. Like, for instance, the fact that I went to high school in New York, I introduced a lot of Black Americans to dancehall music. So if I'm listening to a King Jammy's cassette during that time, I'll take it off my ears and give to my Black American friend, like, check this out. Or, I give to my Latino friend, like, check this out. Or I give it to my Caucasian friend, whoever it is. So we introduce a lot of people to dancehall music because they then in turn go listen to it, and then introduce somebody else. So we open up so many doors here for the artists in Jamaica to come and benefit from. So we all kind of helped each other in some form. As far as negative, it's just dealing with the psychological part of it. Like people that's living in New York, like not the people that buy the records or listen to the records, but disc jockeys that plays the music in New York, they kind of have a situation where they want to feel like the disc jockeys in Jamaica. They want to get that same thing that they're seeing in Jamaica. So they're looking to follow. I'm not saying all of them, but some of them looking to follow the disc jockeys in Jamaica. So they're playing just the artists from Jamaica most of the times. And in order for us to get play from them, we would have to like go around them. Other people plays it, it gets big, then they jump on the wagon. But most of the times it's really, really tough.
Your album, As a Matter of Fox, was released on Elektra Records in 1993. Do you feel it got the recognition it deserved, and do you think it was given the proper push by the label?
Well, it was a tough time because you have to remember during those days they were experimenting with dancehall. They didn't quite understand the market, and they just knew it was hot, and they were trying to figure out how to market this music. Now, when I signed to Elektra Records, at that time they were merging with East West Record, and because they were merging at that time, the people who were working my album, they all got fired, like about 90 people. So all the people that was pushing my product was not there anymore. And there was a whole new entire staff came in from East West with a whole new set of artists. And, it just really, really got to a point where, it just didn't work out. So the album didn't really get much of a chance. And besides that, I was doing things kind of a little bit against what is commercial. Like my first 3 singles was about like real revolutionary type of things. Like Them a Murderer, I'm singing about, issues that's taking place in Africa. I'm singing about oppression. I have another one called Get a Gospel that I'm kind of singing about peace to the world. I have another one called Born Again Black Man, where I'm telling black people that regardless of how dark your skin is, you're beautiful. You don't need to bleach your skin. You don't need to perm your hair. You don't need to do all these things to look Caucasian to be accepted. You should accept yourself for who you are. So those type of records normally don't get played on commercial radio. I was not doing commercial records because I really just doing what I feel. So it was, a lot of different things going on,
You've performed all around the world at many different type of events, and you were the first dancehall artist to appear on Jay Leno's NBC TV show along with the Wailing Souls. How vividly do you remember this day, and where does it rank on your list of most memorable performances?
I mean, it was an awesome time, because we did a remix for Wailing Souls, and they got the opportunity to perform on Jay Leno, and they invited me to to come to Hollywood and do the song with them. And at that time, I was not signed yet, and dancehall was still like on the rise. So it was great because I feel very instrumental in the development of dancehall getting popular globally. So you feel like you're one of the persons that was helping to break the music into different markets. Because being on Jay Leno that time, doing that type of thing was totally foreign. So there's a lot of people that they introduced to it, and it was just great for me because I was such a little kid, because I started making records from the age of 17. And by the age of 21, I was already like signed. So it was just exciting,
You've collaborated with hip-hop artists, and today we still see dancehall artists working with their counterparts from the hip-hop world. A couple of good examples Assassin and Movado. From your point of view, what are the benefits of these cross-genre collaborations, and would you like to see more of them happening?
Yeah, for sure, because you see, dancehall and hip hop is related, because you know I have the opportunity to talk to Cool Herc a lot. He calls me sometimes, and it's like every time I hear he calls me or I see his name on my phone, I get like stupid, because this is like the founder of hip hop, but he's a Jamaican guy, and it shows you where hip hop is coming from, and in order to create a unity among Jamaicans and the hip hop artists, we need those collaborations, because when I came to New York City, we weren't so friendly. They used to tell us that we look like we came off a banana boat. They used to tell us that what kind of clothes you guys wearing, you guys look weird, that type of thing. We had a tough time with the Black Americans when I came here. I used to run out of the trains from some of them because they ran me down with box cutters, to slice us up. So when I collaborated with Brand Nubian first, Loud Jamar and Sadat X, on their In God We Trust album. So they used to come to the underground nightclub where Sting was playing and I was performing, and they saw me there and they invited me to come on their album, and then I invited them to come on mine. And you see how it opens up to, because there's people today that only know about Red Fox from just that Brand Nubian sound. You know what I mean? And it opened doors, to other people who never heard dancehall before. I don't even understand what it's about. You know what I mean? So it's great. It's great. I think I encourage it. You know what I mean? I don't see anything wrong with it.
Bringing things back to the current day, you feature on the single Jump from Canadian producer Poirier, which is available now for digital downloads and on vinyl. Commenting on his track even, Poirier said, quotes, "I wanted to reference the 90s dancehall vibe, but with a modern feel of my own. After I'd made the beats, Red Fox instantly came to my mind because he is that sound, that voice." How does it make you feel knowing that to him, you are the sound and the voice of 90s dancehall?
I mean, it's an awesome feeling because, we did not really know what we were doing, during the 90s. Like when I was doing, I've been singing since I'm like 10, 11 years old. So you did not know you were creating sounds. You did not know you were doing things that is going to inspire other artists to come. You did not know how important you are to the genre that you're representing, So when you hear like a Poirier saying something like that, you feel really blessed, you feel really thankful because you realize that your hard work that you've been putting in is being recognized, globally.
At the end of 2013, you released a mixtape, Firefox, in conjunction with Safari Sound out of Sweden. And in my opinion, it was one of the best dancehall mixtapes of that year. So much so, I had to go back and listen to it this past weekend.
Thanks, man.
What are the chances we see you two work together again for a part 2?
You mean Shirk and Safari?
Yes.
First and foremost, I must say big respect to Shirkan because, we actually met through social media, and I linked up with him in Sweden and we did like a little small tour, and then we worked on the mixtape, and, he had some great ideas. We kind of come together. I'm actually in process of meditating on doing another mixtape with Screechy Dan together, because I personally feel that the world haven't really, heard what Screechy Dan can really do. Because to me, Screechy Dan is one of the greatest lyricists of all times. So I want to we both talk like an hour every day, and we talk about a lot of deep things, a lot of deep issues, and so we're trying to put that all on a mixtape, put it into music, so we're not working with anybody particular right now as far as who is like Shurkin or a different sound system, because we also want to do one with LP International, because Puma wants to do one with us as well. So we kind of in a situation where both of us just want to kind of focus on these issues a little bit first, and then we figure out how to merge with Safari and also LP International.
Last question before we finish. You're a man who often posts gym selfies on Instagram. What's your workout routine like, and has health always been something that's been important to you?
Yeah, well, you can see I have my bright orange shirt because I'm getting ready to cycle. I ride a lot. Well, listen, man. You see, when you DJ, you have to be fit. As Juna Reid say, to make a hit, you have to fit. And it's serious. You got to be fit. Because when you're performing on stage, if you don't have that stamina, you really, really can't DJ. DJ takes a lot of stamina. It's not like a singer that is just walking from side to side on the stage just singing. When you DJ, especially my type of thing is based on energy. When I go on stage, my thing is focus is on energy, like pure, raw energy. I want to like totally move a crowd with just vibrancy. And I have to stay fit to kind of deliver that type of show. And when I'm in the studio to get breath control, to make that record sound really strong, I need my vocals to be on a certain level. I know my lungs have to be very like free. And I have to really like do a lot of workout. And you got to keep yourself, shapely, because after a while, when you're getting like older, your body slow down with a lot of things. You could get fat, man. I can't afford that.
Go and support his music. Skylarking, produced by Sting International and featuring Screechy Dan, is out now. So is Jump, produced by Poirier. Red Fox, thanks a lot.
Respect, Gibbo. Bless up.
Gibbo presents